In a quiet village nestled between dense forests and winding red earth roads, a small shrine stood in the center of the village square. Inside, hanging on a simple wooden wall, was an ancient mask carved by the village ancestors. The villagers revered it, calling it the Mask of Truth. For generations, the elders had passed down a solemn warning to the children: never lie in the presence of the mask. The spirit inside it sees everything. The mask itself was a work of art with deep-set eyes that seemed to hold ancient secrets and a long, narrow mouth that was forever sealed. Its age was a mystery, but everyone believed a powerful, watchful spirit resided within its wooden form. For countless years, the mask hung in silent observance. It witnessed the villagers' prayers, their joyful celebrations, and their heated disputes. It was a constant, unchanging presence in their lives. But one sun-drenched afternoon, that was all about to change. A group of boys, including a young lad named Tano, were playing near the shrine. Their youthful energy was boundless, and soon their games brought them to the shrine's entrance. "Let's go look at the mask," one of the boys suggested, a mischievous glint in his eye. Tano, however, hesitated. He remembered his grandmother's stories. "My grandmother says the spirit inside it wakes when someone lies," he said, his voice laced with nervousness. His friend just laughed. "That's just an old story to scare us." Fueled by bravado, the boys stepped into the cool, dim interior of the shrine. They stood in a semicircle, their eyes fixed on the ancient wooden face hanging before them. The air was still and heavy with the scent of old wood and incense. Suddenly, breaking the respectful silence, one of the boys picked up a small, dry stick from the floor. With a quick, thoughtless gesture, he reached out and tapped the mask. A sharp crack echoed through the small space. A tiny piece of the mask's chin chipped off and clattered onto the stone floor. The boys froze, the playful mood instantly gone. Tano's eyes widened in horror. "You broke it," he gasped. The boy who had done it immediately shook his head, his face pale with panic. "No, I didn't," he lied, his voice trembling. In that very instant, a strange thing happened. The gentle breeze outside began to swirl and pick up speed, turning into an unnerving wind that whistled around the corners of the shrine. Inside, the cracked mask seemed to shift on the wall almost imperceptibly. The boys stared, their hearts pounding in their chests. Then the impossible happened. The long, narrow mouth of the mask creaked open, just a sliver. A deep, resonant whisper echoed from within, seeming to come from the very air around them. A lie has been spoken. A wave of pure terror washed over the boys. They let out a collective scream and scrambled out of the shrine, running as fast as their legs could carry them, not daring to look back. That night, an unsettling phenomenon swept through the village. Every time someone uttered a falsehood, a faint ethereal glow would emanate from the broken mask inside the shrine, and on the wind, the spirit's voice would whisper, carrying the accusation through the quiet streets. The next morning, a farmer stood before the village elder trying to resolve a dispute. "I swear, I did not take my neighbor's goat," he insisted, his hands raised in a gesture of innocence. As the words left his mouth, the wind suddenly howled through the village square. From within the shrine, the broken mask blazed with a bright red light. A deep, clear voice echoed for all to hear. "That is a lie." The farmer's face turned ashen. He stammered, then dropped his gaze to the ground. I took it," he admitted in a small voice. A collective gasp rippled through the crowd of onlookers. The truth was out. Word of the awakened spirit spread like wildfire. The broken mask had become the villagers' undeniable conscience. Days turned into weeks, and no lie could remain hidden for long. In the marketplace, a merchant was trying to sell his wares. "This cloth is the finest in the land," he declared grandly to a potential buyer. Immediately, a strong gust of wind blew through the market stalls, scattering leaves and dust, and from the shrine at the center of the square, the now familiar voice boomed. "That is a lie." The merchant let out a heavy sigh, defeated. All right. It's not the finest," he grumbled, offering the buyer a more honest price. Slowly but surely, a transformation took place. The villagers became more mindful, more careful with their words. Children learned to take responsibility for their mistakes, instead of blaming their siblings or friends. Neighbors resolved their disagreements with open and honest conversation. The entire community began to breathe a little easier, held together by a newfound integrity. Even the village chief was not immune. One evening, he stood alone in the shrine and spoke quietly to the mask. "I promised to repair the old bridge months ago," he confessed, his voice heavy with regret. "But I kept delaying it, making excuses." The mask glowed, but this time it was a soft, gentle light. The wind outside became calm and still. The spirit did not accuse him. The village elder, who had watched from a distance, nodded wisely. "Truth brings peace," he murmured to himself. Years passed. The village became renowned far and wide, a beacon of honesty in a world often shrouded in deception. Travelers journeyed from distant lands, not just out of curiosity, but to witness the strange power of the shrine and to experience a community where lies could not survive. One evening, Tano, now grown into a wise and respected young man, returned to the shrine. He stood before the broken mask, his eyes tracing the small crack that still ran across its wooden facer, permanent reminder of that fateful day. "Are you still watching us?" he asked softly, his voice full of respect. The wind moved gently through the shrine, like a soft sigh. For a fleeting moment, the carved mouth of the mask seemed to curve into the faintest of smiles. And a quiet, peaceful whisper filled the air, meant only for him. "As long as truth is needed, I will remain." From that day forward, the villagers understood the spirit's true purpose. It wasn't there to punish or to scare them. The spirit of the broken mask had awakened to remind them of a profound and powerful lesson. Truth is the foundation that protects and strengthens a community. Lies, no matter how small, are the cracks that can slowly break it apart. And sometimes even a broken thing can serve the greatest purpose of all, to help keep the world honest. Thank you for watching. If this story resonated with you, please like, share, and subscribe for more tales that make you think. See you next time.